It looks like his PB is a 126.13. So still will probably be a fairly tight race. Again, this is the first match that either of them have played, so this will actually probably set the tone for who gets second or first seed in their group. So it'll be interesting to see what the outcome of this is. Alright, we're going to start off with Cat Kingdom, more or less a tutorial island type of place. Not a whole lot going on either route-wise or terribly heavy movement-wise. Just a lot of jumping, rolling, and trying to keep your speed across various surfaces, both floor and water. Pretty clean start on both streams. Once we get started into crossing this frog pond, we might see a little bit of divergence. There's not a whole lot going on. However, it is important to pay attention to see where people decide to pick up coins. Because even as early as now, we might see people take a little bit of a diversion, making sure they grab some of those rings so they have enough coins for later. Because if they don't grab Sphinx, then they're going to be running short on coins, depending on what their route is. You also see both of them electing to go up the left side of the mountain or hill. It is a little bit faster to go up to the left compared to the right, although again, it is one of those things where by going up the left, you do not get any of those coins that you would get by going up the right. So we might see some diversion later as far as whether we see people go to Seaside first to get some coins from there before going to Snow, which is where you'll need some of those coins to get a moon. We might see him pick up Sphinx and then they won't have to go to Seaside first at all. And again, pretty clean starts from both, pretty much dead even coming out of Cap Kingdom. Cascade Kingdom's big trick is going to be Dino Skip. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to grab the dinosaur and use a trampoline to skip all the way up to where the boss is rather than going up the normal way, which involves using the 2D area. Area 51 just missing the pillar there with the first sling of chain jump, but hitting it nice and square with the second one. There are a couple of, not necessarily tricky, but tight triple jumps. You have to do the very tiny jumps just to make sure you have room to fit in the triple jumps. Getting up here, and we'll also see the first real use of the homing attack, grabbing this dinosaur. Homing attack, you have to use motion controls, and it pretty much just zooms Cappy towards the nearest target that he can attach himself to, or grab, depending on if it's a coin or something. Area 51 getting Dino Skip first try. Jinny not quite hitting the trampoline the first time around, but he'll still get the first bounce, or rather making it on this first bounce, so not too much time lost there. So we see Area 51 making sure to grab a few coins in the first part of that fight. Both of them having pretty similar fights. Area 51 going for the fast round on that last cycle and managing to land on the chain chomp and stopping the chain chomp's attack early, and then getting to a capture early as well. And that trick alone does put him in the lead by probably 10 or 12 seconds. Having to have change up go all the way back to Madame Brutal after being sent out and then having him come out again does take a bit of time, so getting that trick is, while it seems kind of small, it's actually a pretty significant time save. So we need 5 moons to get out of Cascade. We grab the first one, we beat the boss, which is a necessary multi-moon to grab. And then the other moon we're going to grab is atop the cliff. It's easily the quickest one. There's not really any route divergence in Cascade. So, however, we're going to be seeing a lot of divergence in Sand Kingdom. There's probably about 20, maybe even more than that, moons that you could grab in Sand Kingdom that are all perfectly viable. And like a dozen different routes as far as how you grab them. However, you only need 16, so for the most part, it's up to the runners what their preferences are, and depending on if they're comfortable with certain tricks like Sphinx Clip, as far as which ones they grab. So it looks like Area 51 after Cascade has a lead of about 10 seconds. Not really a whole lot can be made up in the first couple of levels. I mean, it's more just a matter of, you know, if someone makes a mistake with Dino Skip or maybe a couple little movement errors here or there. The first real big time loss causing tricks will be up here in Sand Kingdom. The main ones to look out for will be Arch and the box in the ruins. Another big one will be the Jaxie chest. Missing Jaxie chest on the first try can cost yourself, depending on what route you take, it can cost as little as like 20 seconds or as much as like a minute. We do also see Jinny going for Bird right away, whereas it seemed as though Area 51 is going to wait till later to get the Bird. You can get the Bird either right at the beginning in the town, you can wait until later and get him after Oasis, or you might even get him on your way to the Dune Moon. Area 51 backtracking a little bit to grab Employees Only. Usually you would get that first. However, it looks like both of them are actually going on that route, so it seems like they may both be electing to skip Sphinx and maybe not do Oasis. Again, there are a lot of routes, so I mean, if that is the case, it's not really a surprise so much as different than maybe what we've seen in a lot of other races. Area 51 is a little bit behind in terms of the route, however he does have the Bird already, so depending on how it works into Area 51's route later, Jinny could actually kind of be in the lead right now. Area 51 made it up to the Arch without issue, and so did Jinny, so fortunately, you know, if you get mixed up there, it can be very easy to lose a bunch of time trying to set yourself up and get on the ice compared to your typical setup that you get on the way there normally. But fortunately, nobody falls and there's no need for that. Area 51 looks like he's electing not to worry about the lone pillar. We'll see if Jinny goes for that, or if he's going to not worry about that either. Area 51 did grab the checkpoint though, so it's very possible that he is planning on going to Sphinx and then teleporting after, or maybe just teleporting from luggage. We do see Area 51 going for Sphinx. That'll take care of his coins pretty much. Jinny also grabbing the checkpoint. We'll see if Jinny goes for Sphinx as well. Doesn't look like it yet. It's still possible that he'll turn around after luggage and go after Sphinx, but he very well may decide not to. Area51 teleporting back to that flag from earlier. By teleporting directly out of Sphinx, he avoids having to deal with the loading zone of coming back from Sphinx and into the main area of the world. Jinny not doing Sphinx, we might end up seeing Seaside first out of him later. But for now, he's going to be a little bit shorter on coins compared to Area51. Area51 getting Jaxie chest first try without any issue. Very nicely done by him. Jinny, fortunately not quite capturing the bullet though there, so he's going to have to wait another one to spawn, but it's only a second or two. Let's see if he gets the Jaxie chest wall kick without any problems. He gets it as well. Very nicely done by both runners. So you see Area51 here grabbing Bird in the Oasis. So fortunately with his route, Bird was pretty much right next to the mound of birds, so didn't really lose any time going for that. And then all he has left to grab is notes and he can head over to the Odyssey. So Jinny will also need to grab notes after the mound, however he's already grabbed Bird, so he doesn't need to worry about grabbing it in an Oasis. Tumbling down there, might be able to get up in time. Makes it. Alright, nicely done. Nice recovery from that fall. We do see him electing to roll his way over towards the Odyssey. It is faster than teleporting back from that particular moon. If you were at any other moon, you would warp back, but because you're a little bit closer to it and you can just roll along without having to do any real jumps, it is faster to roll there directly. Next up is Lake Kingdom. You only have to grab 8 moons here, and one of those is a multi-moon. Well, technically 3 of them are. There's not a really large amount of divergence in terms of routing you can do here. I mean, there's a couple other moons you can grab if you're real comfortable, but all of them are pretty straightforward. Area51 does have around a 20-second lead. So one of the more beloved transformations of this game is the Cheep Cheep. Simply because it allows you to move around in water rather than be Mario's slow, sluggish swimmer self. See, I personally am not a fan of water levels, so I was very relieved to find out that swimming is not going to be slow in this game at all. Not to mention you can boost yourself by pressing X and B at the same time, or Y and B, or whatever you use in particular to go up and down. Area51 going to be jumping directly from the water up to where the boss is. Nicely done. And then he's going to be facing Ringo. Ringo is a fairly straightforward fight if you know how to do him quickly. If you don't, then it can be a little bit rough though. Fortunately, it looks like Area51 knows how to take him out. Jinny is now going for that jump up to the boss area. Does not quite get it. Fortunately, if you had just left a transformation, you are not able to cappy bounce right away. You have to wait till you land. But fortunately he knows the backup strat, so he makes it up without much issue. Ooh, does mess up the attack cycle cancel though. It is a little bit of a wait for him to get out of that unless you manage to get it right away the second time. So that is going to cost him a little bit. He's also down to 1 HP. I don't recall whether or not he grabbed that checkpoint, so he does need to be careful and make sure he does not take that last bit of damage. He does get the safe kill though. Nicely done. We see Area 51 moving on to Wooded Kingdom. Wooded Kingdom is another one of the longer ones. 16 moons to grab before you leave. Pretty much everyone grabs the same moons here. There's not really a whole lot of fast moons to be had, which is why we buy one of them. The main thing that we'll see is whether we go for pipes first after exiting the tunnel, or whether we go for them after we grab the checkpoint. And again, looking at Area 51's coin count, he already has 300 coins, which is more than enough than what we need for any percent. We only really need 200 or 210, give or take an extra 10 or 20 if you die a couple of times. Jinny, on the other hand, who did not do Sphinx, is at 132, which is a pretty healthy coin count at this point in time. And again, he probably will do Seaside first, which will get him a good 40-50 extra coins if he needs them. Doing Seaside first over Snow is only like a frame or two to change your selection after Metro, so you don't really lose any time doing that. Alright, now we'll see if Area 51 heads down towards Pipes, or if he's going to head up to the maze first and grab a checkpoint and then go to Pipes. Looks like he's going to do Pipes first. Pipes is a pretty heavy movement section of the game. Even though it is pretty brief, there's not a whole lot of room for error if you want to match and get the good cycles. Because as the water moves up and down and the fuzzies move around, even a little bit of the loss in time can make it to where getting the level done as fast as possible is out of the realm of possibility. See, it does look like Area 51's not going to have too many issues with it. It doesn't do it quite as fast as what he could, but makes it across without losing any time, really. So doing that section absolutely perfectly is pretty dang hard. So most people just take it a little easy, don't really stress too much about it. You know, it's maybe 1 second if you take your time and do it right, compared to doing it the absolute fastest way. Also tricky though is this climb up to the maze after the pipes, so fortunately he doesn't have too much issues there. Jinny, meanwhile, in the pipes, having a pretty good pipe so far. We'll see if he can get to the super fast ending. Taking that damage there looks like it probably isn't going to happen. Does need to be careful not to die, but he should be alright. Yep. So no real pain or suffering for either of the runners in pipes. So depending on where you take damage, it can really get you stuck in a bit of a rut. Area 51, grabbing the first story moon. That particular story moon isn't particularly fast for the most part. However, the multi-moon and the couple of moons before that are extremely fast, so it actually kind of balances out that we get that moon. We do see Area 51 opting to use the leaf bridge. It is possible to skip it, but it's also incredibly difficult. Ooh, Jinny possibly taking a death here. Oh, he almost saved it too. Hopefully he picked up that checkpoint flag right before the piranha, because if he did, then he's not going to be set back too awfully far. Ooh, unfortunately he still did not grab it, so he's stuck all the way down back at pipes. With a good ascent, that's still only a few, maybe 8 or 10 seconds added on to what he would have already had to do, but still a little bit disheartening. Area 51 about to meet the third brutal fight of the run. Speward. Speward's probably the easiest brutal to deal with. Not really a whole lot of difficulty. Simply because he just kind of stands in the middle. You hit him with Cappy once or jump on him once, and then you jump on him again, and he takes damage. And all you have to do for his attack cycle cancel is jump on his hat again. Very clean fight from Area 51. Jinny about to begin his ascent up to the tower. He also elects to take the leaf bridge. Jinny not having too much issue climbing up the tower. Area 51, meanwhile, is about to enter Metro, or at least set his sails towards Metro. Unfortunately, he can't actually go there yet, so we're going to get a little bit of a detour due to some interference. Jinny, meanwhile, going after the Spirit fight, has a little bit of a drop, but does not go all the way down. He can make it back up if he's careful about it. Area 51 finding the detour in Cloud Kingdom. He's going to have to face Bowser. Fortunately, with Bowser, you can grab his hat and position yourself close enough to him to where you can punch him before he jumps away for his little dodge cycle. And Area 51 pulls that off pretty easily. A clean spirit fight from Jinny. Ooh, Area 51 stands a little too close to Bowser, so he just grabs his hat back. So you want to be close enough to punch him, but not close enough to where he can just grab his hat off your head. Jinny is around 2.5 minutes behind. However, given that it's pretty early in the run and there's still a lot of stuff yet to go, it's still definitely possible that he catches back up if Area 51 should fall at any point in time. Area 51 finishes the Bowser fight, however, he's not canceling the cutscene right away. Might have gotten a little distracted there. And he begins Lost Kingdom. Lost Kingdom has a few difficult bits of movement going on in it, particularly at the very beginning. So Klepto normally will capture Cappy from Mario, and then you have to go rescue him. Or you can go up a couple of different ways and avoid that interaction altogether. You see Area 51 electing to go above the cage and is going to do cave gardening. So the other route that you could do would be to use what is lovingly named the meme tree and triple jump or long jump from that up to the left side. Jinny, meanwhile, starting the Bowser fight in Cloud Kingdom. See him also doing the strat to hit Bowser before he jumps away. Alright, Area 51 just went by Klepto. Talking by Klepto again, even though we've already avoided the fight, helps to turn off that sequence where he does capture Cappy. So now, before, if you went to a certain area, Cappy could still be captured. But now, it just doesn't happen at all. There are 10 moons to be had in Lost Kingdom, however, the kingdom itself still is done easily within 3 or 4 minutes. Just because all of them are so tightly packed in, a lot of them are just kind of out in the open. So there's no entering little mini levels or anything like that, or any boss fights, since we avoid the one kind of mini boss fight that there is. Jinny is now beginning his entry into Lost Kingdom. See if he goes up the left or the right side of the mountain. Looks like he's going to go for the left side. Gets the triple jump, the bounce, and makes it up without any issues. Nicely done, first try. So the left side is a little bit quicker, so that could open up an opportunity to get some time back. Area 51, meanwhile, starting Night Metro. Pretty movement-heavy section of the game, both on your way to City Hall and also within City Hall. We're going to be going up above this building here rather than going through town like you're normally meant to. It is a bit of a difficult jump up there, not a whole lot of room for error. Area 51 bonking the first time, but gets it the second time. And then a long jump over from that tall building after grabbing the sandwich grenade. City Hall is another difficult section simply because you have to climb up but also make it in time to grab onto these elevators. Ooh, barely making onto that first one, nicely done. And then you wall jump up the poles rather than just doing a simple climb. And then there's also going to be a long jump across the center to make it from the side that you're currently on to where the exit is. So the main difficulty of it is just the fact that that camera turns around right in the middle, and depending on where you're at, that can really mess with you. Jinny, nicely done, gets the climb back up after the under the bridge moon. Getting back out without dying saves yourself 10 coins, and also is a little bit faster than if you were to just die. So it's not an easy thing to do. Area51 in the Wiggler fight. First phase isn't really anything to sneeze at. Mostly because Wiggler can just do some kind of weird stuff. But the main part is going to be the second phase. So we do a little bit of maneuvering around to make it to where Wiggler isn't out in the open too long when he's running along the level. Or a little arena, I guess you would say. And then for the second phase, depending on where you first hit Wiggler, he'll stop pretty early. Generally, you want to hit him in the head first. It looks like he might have stopped a little early there. So one of the other factors that affects when he stops is how many of those fireballs you take out. If you take out all of them right away, then he stops a little earlier. I'm not sure if it's just like a matter of what number you take out, or if it's a matter of like when that last one disappears, he thinks that it's time for him to be done. So unfortunately, it will be a 3 cycle from Area51. But given that the second phase is also pretty short, it's not going to be too terribly rough on his time. Jinny makes it up to the building without issue. However, it does take a little bit of a fall there going for swaying in the breeze. Fortune doesn't fall all the way down, so not really too much time lost, just swinging back around to where the wire is. And he does get it the second time, so should be a-okay. Area51 finishes the Wiggler fight and begins the day metro phase. So at this point, he has 4 moons, 3 multi-moon moons, and then the single one from the critter sandwich. So there's still another 16 to collect since you need 20 to leave metro. Jinny suffering a death here in Town Hall, but it looked like it was pretty early on, so not too terribly bad. Ooh, another one. It's unfortunate. This is like easily one of the easiest places to die is, simply because there's so many things to bonk off of, cycles to hit. If you misstep a single time, you're completely out of sync. Area51 bouncing on your bench friend's head a couple of times before becoming friend with them is, you know, kind of frowned upon, but, you know, if it happens, it happens. Fortunately, bench friend is pretty forgiving. See Area51 taking a warp up to the top of the tower. He's going to be jumping down and grabbing a moon or two and then climbing back up using a wire. Jinny, meanwhile, makes it all the way up City Hall and jumps across without any issues. Nicely done. Area51, unfortunately, so generally for that moon, if you throw Cappy out just a little too early, then you won't be able to have him to bounce off of afterwards, and a lot of times you'll be left falling down. Fortunately, you're also pretty much right next to a wire, so you can get right back up anyways. Jinny begins his Wiggler fight, and first cycle, not really much of an issue. Fortunately, there's nothing glitchy or buggy happens. We'll see if he can get 2 cycle and maybe catch up a little bit. It looks like he'll be able to get it, maybe, if he gets that last hit in time. Oh, not quite. See, unfortunately, if it's like right at the top, if you're not in a really good position to hit it right away, it can be kind of difficult to maneuver yourself to where you can hit it. So Wiggler is definitely one of the harder fights in the game, simply because you're maneuvering around, trying to shoot the fireballs, trying to avoid the fireballs, also trying to hit a moving target from, you know, solid. I mean, it takes 2 or 3 seconds for tank shots to actually hit, so it can get a little messy real quick. Still, since there was only that 1 segment left and he got that last segment pretty quick, not really a whole lot of time lost there going to that 3rd cycle. Area51 is beginning to pick up the musicians, so while we only grabbed 2 out of the 4, they are pretty quick moons. I'm also having an extra chat with Pauline. Good to say hi to old friends, as well as the new. Speaking of new friends, we have a very important person that we're about to meet. So after one last stop into the scrap metal that is Mecha Wiggler, we visit the most hype person in the game, Otep. And one of the best parts about these races is that we get to see Otep twice. Heck, in some of them we get to see Otep 4 times if we have 2 races going on at once. Jinny making his bench friend without jumping on him quite as much as what Area51 did. It's very considerate. Area51, meanwhile, let him go to Snow Kingdom first, since he does have all of the coins he needs to buy the moon. There is still one more friend we want to stop by, though. Good old Toad. Area51 being fairly considerate, only poking out a little bit of Toad's little snow fort. Could have done a little bit less, but at least it's all in one nice spot. He can still shelter out of the wind pretty well. As for the earlier race, HDLax did beat Area 51. HDLax had a 108.26, Area 51 had a 117.43. Those are the times that showed up on SRL at least. Area 51 grabbing the main moons in the lobby of Snow without too much trouble. Now that he does have both of those store moons bought, does not need to worry about coins for the rest of the game. If he has none or if he has 1,000, it doesn't really make a difference. Jinny, meanwhile, about to grab the drummer, and then he will be making our second visit to OTEP. Area 51 making it through the purple room without too much trouble. See, this room is pretty notorious with some of its cycle difficulties as well. Spinies can survive after that barrage of wind. And just a plethora of things can go wrong in that room, but Area 51 not having any of that. Alright, here we go. Second visit of OTEP. OTEP. Yay. Area 51 grabbing the Goombas without any trouble. Sometimes one of the Goombas will pull a little of a suicide jump, but fortunately they stepped back from the ledge. We do see Jinny electing to go to Snow Kingdom right after Metro. It's possible that was a mistake, or maybe he is planning to get the Shot Moon last. So you don't necessarily have to go for it before you go into any of the challenges. So you can grab some coins between them and getting the Shot Moon. Although right now he's actually sitting at, it's a pretty safe amount of coins, 95. I was thinking maybe he had less than that, but he actually should be pretty much good to go. He does open up Toad's little fort a bit more, though. Toad's gonna suffer a little bit on that side of things. Area 51 finishing Snow Kingdom without really any issues. Pretty solid work from him. He will be entering Seaside. Seaside is another 10 moon level as well. No Shot Moon. We did used to get a Shot Moon there, but not anymore. Though I guess Area 51, if you really wanted to, could still grab one. Chances are that we're going to be getting most of our moons underwater. Jinny also done with shot moons now. Does not have to worry about coins. He only had a couple of extra. But hey, once you have enough, you have enough. You don't have to worry about it, right? Area51 having a little bit of a hazy start to those notes, however, he gets himself lined up and makes it across without any more issues. Little known fact, you actually don't have to hold a direction when you're doing those. If you lined up beforehand, you can completely let go of the control stick, or if you do have to make adjustments, you can just tap left or right a little bit rather than having to hold up and try and keep that control stick perfectly straight the entire time. Jinny makes it through the purple lake room without any issues. Hopefully makes it through the Goomba room fine as well. Looks like he'll probably be able to do it. Yep. See, some people prefer to get the Goombas right off the bat just to make sure they don't get any funny ideas while they wait for the icicle to fall. Just barely making that jump all the way across the moon. Nicely done. Area51, meanwhile, finishing up Seaside and warping himself back to the Odyssey. Jinny finishing up Snow Kingdom. He will have to go through Seaside and then he will be on his way to Luncheon, where Area51 is now. There's a couple of difficult things in Luncheon. One in particular is just the beginning jump. It doesn't look too awfully difficult, and sometimes it isn't. However, the timing and jumping and all of that is extremely tight. Any little bit of issue can make it to where you don't get quite high enough to get onto that platform. Area51, though, making the beginning of Luncheon look easy, heads his way towards the brutal battle. Spewart's second fight is not really any different from the first one. I mean, the arena is rectangular instead of circular. That's pretty much it. The one big thing that we might see in Luncheon is whether the players go for Forks or Lava Maze. See, those are the two main moons that we see people kind of choose between. Forks is a little bit faster than Lava Maze, but not significantly. So if you're more comfortable with Lava Maze, then, you know, go for it. This is the only mini level in the game where we go in, grab the secondary moon, and then leave. I mean, I guess you could count Snow Kingdom's room with the Brutal in it, since we don't fight the Brutal, but I don't know that that counts technically as a mini world. Everyone does like to go up the back side of this mountain area to get up. Let's see, it is possible to dive your way across that little lake of lava slash Pepto-Bismol slash whatever you want to call that pink liquid that acts as lava. Going up the back way though is definitely a little safer and easier. We see homing attack coming into play here again, being able to smash that box without really having to aim at it. And he does elect to buy a moon in luncheon, actually. Something I haven't seen in a hot second, but that's mostly just because people don't generally have enough coins at this point. But since he grabbed plenty of them at Sphinx, he actually has enough to do this. Be interesting to see what exactly he decides to replace, or what he replaced the shop moon, or use the shop moon to replace, rather. Excuse me. Jinny, meanwhile, at about 7 moons into Seaside. Just a couple more to grab. I think Area51 might decide not to go all the way over to the Salt Island and then fork, so no, he's gonna go over there. Maybe he'll avoid grabbing the other cliff ground pound moon towards the end. Jinny, I think, might have forgotten a moon. See, he has the one here. Normally, would warp back to the Odyssey after this one. He may decide to go to the Eel Den, or maybe he forgot one of the ones from earlier and is going back for it. If one doesn't do fork, so he's probably going to be picking up Lava Maze. Right now he's grabbing the Cheese Rock Moon. To get the Cheese Rock Moon, you have to break through all those rocks, hit the lever, and the main difficulty of that is... he missed the Rumble Pipe. Gotcha. But yeah, to get the Cheese Rock Moon, you have to use the Pan Bros, which are just Hammer Bros throwing pans. And the throwing of those pans is RNG, so it can be a little bit troubling to grab or to break those rocks open in a timely manner. Sometimes you can be sitting there throwing pans for a solid 5 or 10 seconds before it breaks the one that you absolutely need to break. Area51 claiming that the moon behind the mountain is bad and dumb. I'm not going to defend those allegations because he's not entirely wrong. I don't really care for that moon either. He's going to damage boost at the end of Lava Maze. See, it is possible to get to the end without damage boosting, but it's also a little bit trickier, harder, and uses motion control, so I mean, who wants to really bother with that? Jinny begins luncheon. He's also going to be going for this difficult jump. See if he can get it first try. Not quite, but he does realize it early enough to where he's not going to really lose too much time. So the main thing is that a lot of times you get high up enough where you think you'll make it, and then not quite. It really is a super tight jump. Area51 grabbing the multi-moon from the cooking pot. See, after that, he will have enough to go ahead and leave. Oh, I didn't offend the animations. I said that it is a stupid, dumb moon. He's not wrong. Jinny making it up after a few tries. And then he will be heading to the second spear fight as well. Area51 is about to make his way towards Bowser Kingdom. Towards it, but not quite to it, since we get stopped again. And this time, instead of doing us the honor of facing us in the sky before shooting us down, he's just gonna straight up shoot us out of the sky this time. No issue at all with the spirit fight. Area51 making his way up Ruin Kingdom and heading towards the dragon. I'll spare everyone the general Skyrim and Dark Souls jokes and say that's a magnificent, I can talk, magnificent looking dragon. I mean, let's all be honest here. It looks pretty dang good, pretty cool. A little bit of a sleeper of a fight though. So all there's really to do here is do a little bit of damage boosting if you desire to get onto the snout early enough and grab those swords right away. But other than that, I mean, mostly we're just waiting for the dragon to finish doing what he's doing so that we can take out the swords and ground pound his face. So Area51, first two phases of the dragon are down, only one to go. Jinny does not have the coins to do the shot moon the way Area51 did, so chances are we will see that stupid behind the mountain moon. Though stupid as it is fast. Area51 finishes dragon fight. Jinny makes it over to the slot island without much issue. And looks like he's gonna go for forks. We do get to see both forks and lava maze in this race. Forks can be done a little bit quicker if you do some of these motion control up throws. It does save probably about a second. Oh no, we do see a bonk here. He might be able to get back to a fork, but not quite. So that is the only real downfall of forks, is that if you fall, you're falling for a good bit of time until you get down to where the death zone is. Just because it is pretty much a vertical level. Does make it up the second time though without any issues, and makes the jump across to the second moon. Area51 entering Bowser's Kingdom. The first moon doesn't have a whole lot going on for it. We might see him go for the behind the wall moon, because there are two story moons that you have to get here, or two non-story moons rather. The rest you will be getting just from doing the story that you cannot avoid doing, unfortunately. He does not elect to go for the behind the wall, so he's probably going to get on top of the wall, and then the glory hole moon, as we so lovingly call it. Jinny, meanwhile, getting the cheese rock moon. So you can see what I mean with some of these pans not really going where they need to go. It's unfortunate there's not really any kind of aim assist with those. It's just pure RNG. Area51, meanwhile, moving on to the second story moon, these moon shards. Good heavy bit of movement here. See, and chances are this will also be where we see him grab the 1 or 2 non-story moons that he needs. He does need to be careful not to die though. He only has 1 HP, and between bombs and birds, there's a lot that can kill you. Fortunately, it looks like he will be okay. Jinny getting that behind the mountain moon that we talked about earlier. Fortunately, that first moon will give him the health back he needs, so no real risk from dying at this point. Jinny falling down. Will not die though due to the platforms down there. Does have to re-climb a little bit, but shouldn't be too bad. Area51 electing not to go for the on top of the wall moon. There are a couple other moons you can grab. One of them is right behind the Odyssey, another one is after these brutal moons. There's a set of boxes you can drop behind and grab a moon from. He elects to go after Topper first. Topper is, I would say, the harder fight between the two, but some people might disagree. See, the main thing is getting that cancel on his attack cycles. Area51 though, having no trouble at all. Yeah, there are 8 moons required to leave Bowser Kingdom. You grab 5 of them normally through story mode, through the story moons. And one of those is a multi-moon, so actually that puts you at 6. Then you just have 2 more. See, the one on top of the wall after the second story moon is one that most people get, and then the last one's usually kind of interchangeable. Area51 though, getting Glory Hole, and then the second one he chooses to get remains to be seen. Jinny entering Lost Kingdom, or not Lost Kingdom, Ruined Kingdom. So we will see him take on the terribly boring, to say the least, to dragon. As awesome as the dragon looks, he's got the most boring fight in the game. Area51 dispatching of Harriet as well. So we'll see here. There's a third moon I didn't mention that you could be grabbing. He might be grabbing the one on Bowser's statue's nose. Just drop down, ground pound his nose, get the moon, and climb back up with the wire. So if he doesn't grab a moon between here and Mecha Brutal, then it will probably be the one behind the Odyssey, I would imagine. This section of movement is a little bit tricky. It's a lot of jumps and bounces, walk kicks, and getting across gaps that can be a little nerve-wracking, to say the least. Barely making it up, nicely done. Does not go for that moon behind the boxes, so that leaves the one located behind the Odyssey. You spin your cap on one of those little statues, and then the moon comes out. Jinny not having any issues with the dragon fight so far. Does not go for the Bowser nose statue or Bowser statue's nose, so he's going to have to grab the one after the fight from behind the Odyssey. It's very possible that he forgot to grab the one after the second story moon. If that is the case, hopefully he thinks of grabbing the one behind the Odyssey rather than going for that. However, right now, Mecha Brutal makes it up birdless. First try, nicely done, and manages to stay on. Ooh, unfortunately, getting back on there, he gets on the face, which is kind of a tricky spot to stay on, and unfortunately slides down. He's gonna have to wait for a bird to spawn before he can get back up, unfortunately. Jinny finishes off the dragon, and he is about to enter Bowser Kingdom as well. If you're unfortunately having a little bit of trouble climbing up with Bird, he's down to 1 HP. He decides to ditch the Bird in favor of probably running around and maybe grabbing some health. Dying at this point in the fight would be a bit troublesome, because even though he would get a chance at doing it the fast way again, I mean, you're on the last hit. You don't really want to die. Makes it up. Can he get the hit before falling down? Oh no, I can see we did have 2 more to go. My bad. Makes it back up. Hopefully he can do it one more time. Makes it, gets the last hit, no trouble. Jinny we see trying to get behind the wall. Unfortunately goes a little too far and overshoots. And does not quite hit the moon. But you can see what he was trying to do there is leave Cappy next to the bird, drop down, get the moon, and then use motion controls for Cappy to hit the bird, capture the bird, sending Mario back on top of the wall, and then next to the bird again. He's going to go for it again. Unfortunately kills the bird. He may opt to just leave that moon for now and go for something else. Yep. So probably going to go for Glory Hole Moon or maybe one of the other ones I mentioned earlier. Now we need to see what Area51 does for his 8th moon. See, not sure yet whether he thinks he forgot one or if he's planning on getting this. Either way, he does think to grab it, so that will be the one he gets. Even though this moon is like right next to the Odyssey, it is actually not one of the faster moons in this level to get, so that's why you don't really see other people grabbing it. And the reason it's such a long moon to get is just because it's not out in the open the way other moons are, and it has a little moon spawning animation. Jinny, meanwhile, is now on his way through the moon shard section of the level, making his way up and over the wall to get the moon shard behind it first. See, it is a little bit faster. Area51, meanwhile, entering the moon. So the main thing about the moon is this moon skip. Normally you go through this big old cave that has a bunch of cool platforming and captures that you don't see elsewhere in the game, and another Madame Brutal fight. However, we don't bother with all that stuff. It's kind of unnecessary, really. We're just gonna jump on Sphinx's head and climb up the walls. Jinny does like to get the Glory Hole Moon. We will have to wait and see if he gets the one above the wall as well. Area 51 is about to attempt Moon Skip. It is not necessarily an easy trick to do, especially the first little while that you're trying to learn it. But it does skip such a huge portion of the game that even if it takes you a few tries, you're still better off doing that than going through the game normally. Does not quite get on the first try. Jinny, meanwhile, does get on top of the wall. Does get Moon Skip the second try. Nicely done. Jinny, meanwhile, coming up on the brutal battles. And Area 51 beginning the second of the two Bowser fights. This fight isn't really a whole lot different than the first one. Just have to punch Bowser a little bit more, and he's got a different attack phase. Or rather, has an attack phase at all. Doesn't really have one in Cloud Kingdom at all. Unfortunately, his flame doesn't really go any higher than like an inch off the ground, so as long as you're even kind of in the air, you're not going to be hit by it. Same tricks in Cloud Kingdom work here. You can get the hat right next to Bowser, and as long as he isn't able to grab it, you can still reach over and punch him before he jumps away. Jinny not having too much trouble with Topper. Didn't quite get the attack cycle cancels, but did finish him off pretty decently fast, so pretty nicely done by him. Area 51 having a very nice Bowser fight. Now all that remains for him to do is escape from the moon. Now, one of the best captures, of course, is Bowser. One, because he's Bowser, and that alone is awesome, but we also get to go 2D with him, and go for the ever so famous 2D skip. Area 51 might not go for it with it being a race, or he might. Maybe he is a crowd pleaser. We'll have to wait and see. Jinny, meanwhile, finishing Harriet fight. So Area has his 2 story moons, so after that he's going to be going up towards Mecha Brutal. Alright, Area 51 entering the 2D section. Is he going to go for the 2D skip? Ooh, I don't know if he was planning on going for it, but he already broke the block to do it, so he is going to skip the 2D skip. So really, 2D skip. Nicely done, sort of. Jinny, meanwhile, beginning his ascent up towards Mecha Brutal. Making up without any real issues at all. Does take a hit from the bird real quick there, but shouldn't really matter too much either way. Area 51 beginning the destruction of the big ol', I'm not sure if we have a particular name for this room. Kind of like a throne room for the moon cube. Accidentally leaving the bird there, but fortunately there's no one right there to grab, so not really a big deal. Area51 looks like he might finish this with a high 115, probably a little into the 116s. Just has to make it all the way back to the moon in the center. And barring any particularly crazy happenstances, he will be the winner of this race. This will put him at 2-1 in his group. He will be moving on to the bracket stage. Congratulations to Area51 with a 1:16.08. GG. Jinny, meanwhile, climbing up to Mecha Brutal. Does not quite make it back on top in time, but he does manage to capture that bird again. So, I mean, if you have the bird again, you don't really have to wait too long to climb up, at least. See, if you're not going to make it back up, at least you have the bird. Oh, unfortunately, didn't look before stomping. He had already taken out the Brutal at that location, so he just goes down. So now he does have to wait for another bird to spawn. Does land that ground pound. Does not look like he'll be getting that bird back. I think the bird is actually stuck on top of the Mecha Brutal. Unfortunately, after a bit, the bird just despawned, so he'll have to wait for another one. Unfortunately, not making the climb up at that time. So he's struggling a little bit. Mecha Brutal is a very difficult boss to learn. So once you get used to him and get used to the particularly difficult strats, it's not too awfully bad. But unless you're really, really good and consistent at it, it can be extremely difficult to get done in a timely manner. Even if you are aware of how to do it fast and have done it a few times, a single mistake can make it to where your psyche more or less is all screwed up. Jinny unfortunately hits Y when he goes for the ground pound, which is how you dive, so he dives off rather than hitting. He does have the bird though, so he should be able to climb back on. Just have to be careful not to die. Mix it up, gets the ground pound, and away we go. Again, he does already have his 2 non-story moons, so as soon as he spawns back at the Odyssey, he'll be able to just jump in. Yeah, it's definitely a much more enjoyable fight on the moon. If nothing else, because you don't have to worry about any captures, you can just jump up and kick the crap out of Mecha Brutal. Feels good to do if you struggle with them a bit normally. Alright, we're on the moon. Jinny will be going for moon skip, and then the Bowser fight and the escape sequence. Aaron, unfortunately, will not be able to do an interview. He had to get going. So once Jinny is done, we'll see if he would like to come on. This is not the last race for the evening, though, so be sure to stick around. Be some more races, some more commentary. Another thing to note about Moonskip is that there are a lot of different ways to go about it. I mean, there's probably been at least 10 or 12 different ways to do it. Because even though it is strict how you do it, there's also a bunch of different ways to go about it. Just because the wall jump method or mechanics are kind of weird. It can be done in a few different ways. You can jump a few times or only a couple of times and make it up all the same. Jinny getting it first try though, nicely done. See, Moonskip reminds me of being kind of like Gelato Beach Skip in Sunshine, where it's really difficult to learn, but once you get it, it's not too bad. So, even though it does look a little hard to people just starting out the game, it can sometimes take quite a bit of time to learn. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad. Bowser fight again, not really a whole lot different from Cloud Kingdom other than this extra attack cycle and having to punch Bowser a little bit more than before. Oh, and more hats. Not quite as many hats as Topper, but still quite a few. Not quite getting the animation cancel. We do see Bowser throwing those flaming golden shells. So he can throw rocks, which are just kind of like these little, almost like they're made of bricks and grass kind of spheres, which you can punch. However, if they're the little gold flaming ones, then you cannot. If you try and punch them, they'll just explode and damage you anyways. Fortunately, the Bowser fights are pretty much the same every time. It's not really RNG where those hats go. At least for the first time that you go after him. For instance, for this fight, the first throw is done, I mean, in the cutscene, technically. Second one will always be off to the right, and the third one will always be in the middle, starting out with. And then in Cloud, it's always center, right, and then I think the last one is right again, actually. Bowser's flamethrower, so the first thing is that it only really goes along the ground. If you're off the ground pretty much at all, it won't hit you. The other thing is that basically if you watch, he only swings his fire around like 2/3, 3/4 of the little circle. So if you go to the area where he doesn't swing his fire at all, that's when he like kind of stops and turns towards you to make sure you're actually going to get hit. But if you stay in the area where his fire swings to where you have to keep jumping over it, he won't stop and turn. So that's why you see people stay in that area of fire rather than trying to go into the air where he doesn't have even the possibility of hitting you, because he'll stop the turn. We'll see if Jinny tries to go for 2D skip. Ooh, it looked like he was going to go for it. However, say if you do jump a little too early, you hit your head on the block that you're going to have to jump on. However, doing it in a race is pretty neat. It's definitely something that most people don't do, whether they're doing well or not. You know, they just, anything that seems that risky to them, they go, oh, nope. I'm not doing that in a race. I'm too concerned with possibly messing up. Not Jinny though. Jinny's got some bravery going on, and he wants to put on a show for you guys. So he may very well go for it again. Nope, not deciding to go for it now. However, it's still very cool of him to go for it the first time. Most people don't go for it at all, much less in a race. Does look like we'll see him get about a high 128-ish. Which is only a couple minutes off his PB, which not bad at all for a race. So the other thing to keep in mind about this race is that Jinny did only have a 126 going in, and Area 51 had a 113. So both of them really getting about 2 minutes off their PBs respectively, so not bad at all. Jinny actually making it through this section really quick. He's only got that last pillar to go, and he's not been in this room for very long. See, that is the kind of difficult thing about this part of the level is that between the camera and kind of awkwardness of motion controls and the aiming, it's going to be really hard to hit those pillars from afar, but Jinny is pretty good at sniping, apparently. And he is going to finish with a time of 1:28:33. Again, still only a couple minutes off his PB, so well done to Jinny. And again, good game to both runners. See, while I await a response, so for tonight, we just saw Area 51 versus IrregularJinny. Right after this, actually, here in about 20 minutes, we're going to see Jinny go against HD Lax. Welcome.
Hi.
So, how are you feeling after that? Only a couple minutes off your PB after a long old race. Still not bad at all.
Gold 34 seconds after Lake. I'm not very happy. And the death in Wooded caught me really off guard because I was trying to roll where I shouldn't have.
Yeah, you almost saved it too. I was
yeah, that was really close to a save, so I was just like, I don't know. I'm not surprised. Like, to me, I knew that most people would be better than me because I took like a month break from the game, but I've been trying to grind it. Haven't been able to finish a run until today, but This is probably the best. The first 4 splits are probably the best I've seen ever. I've never been able to save 20 seconds on sand.
I say at the start you kept pretty much on pace with them. It was pretty impressive. I say not to mention, you know, like you said, taking a month off. The game's only been out for 2 months now. 2 months and like 2 days.
Yeah.
So I mean, half the time the game's been out, not playing it. So you know, it's still, I would say, pretty proud of a 128 and only being 2 minutes off if you've been off for a month.
I wish I could be positive about that, but like to me nowadays, if you don't have a sub 120, you're not a good runner of this game. Because with how the scene has grown, which makes me happy. No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy to see that this game got a lot of runners. What are we, like 900 runners now?
I can look actually, but go on.
So seeing that makes me really happy, and people finding new stuff. I'm just happy that I just did some stuff on the fly, like strats I've never tried before. I'm surprised how consistent I was at the first, the Mother Brood fight in Cascade. That was like close to perfect. Yeah. And I've only like yesterday or 2 days ago watched Samurai Man do that fight, because when I started up playing this, I didn't look at any runs. I picked up small strats here and there. And I've discussed strats with people, but for the most part, I've been trying to figure out the game on my own. But like the first run I watched properly, aside from the race the other day, was Summer 106, I think it was. And I picked up that Brood fight, and ever since I saw it like once, I've been getting it like 95% of the times, which I didn't think I would be able to.
Yeah, you did. I say Cascade, I think you got a Dino Skip first try, didn't you? You
no, second.
I think you missed the trampoline walking over the first time, but you did get it the first bounce at least.
Oh yeah. So what I learned is that you just have to slow down, and as soon as you start moving after your right leg or the T-Rex right foot is on the ground when you're close enough to the trampoline, then you just hold the Y button to sprint, and then you pretty much always get it.
Yeah, it can be kind of tricky to learn at first, but some of these things that look really hard, like Moonskip. I mean, Moonskip took me at least like 2 or 3 hours to learn and get, you know, even halfway decently. But then once you get it, I mean, you got it. You know.
Did I get it first try?
You got it first try.
Oh, it didn't feel like a first try. What I was doing, I was like, yeah, this might be tight, and then it just happened, and I was like, okay, let's just roll with it.
Yeah, even top runners getting Moonskip first try is not necessarily a gimme. It's a pretty difficult trick, but I mean, usually once you know how to do it, even if it's hard learning it, you can get it first or second try without too much trouble. Again, still pretty good, only 2 minutes off PB after taking a break for a month. You do have another race coming up here in 15 minutes.
I'm probably going to lose that one because I heard HD Lax was pretty solid.
Yeah, he got a 108 earlier.
Yeah, I'm not going to... Unless I somehow do some strats all over the place, there's no way.
Well, if you run over to YouTube, put on his run, and put it on 4 times, I think you might have enough time to get through it before the next race starts. So,
I think the next race is in 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you put it on 4 times, though, I mean, hour and 5 minutes. You just got to absorb it all right away, right?
Anyway, I'm probably going to say this later, but, thanks for the commentary, dude.
Oh, no problem. Happy to hop in. Yeah, good luck in your next race. Say hopefully it goes well. Hopefully you get a PB. Could definitely happen, especially if you play the way you were playing at the very beginning of this run.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my splits, and it's almost a rainbow, and that doesn't feel good.
I mean, it happens. It is a race, so say a lot of times those runs where we would probably reset at about halfway point or sooner, we just kind of have to sit through it and watch it out. And I mean, but once you get, I mean, no reset runs are also kind of relieving because you do get to have some more of that practice on the back end that you might not normally get.
Yeah, that's usually how I practice. When I first started speedrunning with Mega Man X back in 2011, all I did was full game runs. I didn't do a single segment stage or whatever. The only thing I practiced was like iceless in that game. Which, ironically, in the other tournament that you should watch, because brackets are coming up soon in Mega Man X Any%, I got iceless almost every run. You don't need it, but I just felt like doing it, and I got it like first try every time. And it's like it's a 2 sub-pixel 2-frame trick.
Well, dang. I mean, sounds pretty impressive to me. I personally am not good at all at Mega Man, so my mind would probably be blown. Yeah, I guess there's another place you can watch IrregularJinny is the Mega Man X tournament. Say those
I
are playing
somehow
on.
made it out of pools
I
second.
mean, from what you're telling me, you sound pretty dang good at it.
I used to be.
Yeah.
Now everybody's a lot better. New tricks, they found tricks where it's like RNG and frame perfect tricks, and I'm like, no, stop. Like, I can't run this anymore. This is too much.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Sunshine. Say if you
Oh
do want
yeah, I've seen.
to,
I
yeah,
saw
say
that
if
the
you
trick
guys,
in what is it, the beach area?
yeah, the Gelato Beach skip.
Oh
You
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
get pretty much that whole level. That one takes about as long to learn as Moon Skip.
Oh jeez.
First day was found was pretty crazy. But yeah, for those watching, if you want to watch another Odyssey race, we'll be coming up with that here in a jiffy. And for those MMX viewers, those will be on the Speed Gaming channels as well. So, stick around, have your eye out, follow, subscribe, do as you please. But those races will be popping up on these channels.
Yeah.
Again,
I think my next race is on Speed Gaming 4, so if you want to watch that, you should head over there. And big ups to Area51. I had no idea how good he was, but he was literally a few seconds ahead of me the first 4 kingdoms, and I was like, dude, this guy is pretty good.
Yeah. See, good job to both runners. Again, Jinny on Speed Gaming 4, it looks like here in like 10 minutes. So, I mean, if you want to hop over and watch again, go for it. I'm not sure if anything's coming up on this channel right away, but yeah, I will go ahead and sign off. Good luck to you in your races in both MMX and Odyssey.
Thank you, and thanks everybody for watching.